Every time this dude is on the line, he bends his knees so deep. Just take a look at that. He's about to sit down on the court. Seriously, is he playing a game of musical chairs? And the music just stopped? Well, it's a sight that's hard to forget, and honestly, a bit awkward to watch. But who is he actually? This dude is Jerry Stackhouse of the NBA back in the 90s and early 2000s. He was making some serious noise on the court, and he wasn't just good, he was an all-star, back-to-back in 2000 and 2001.
Jerry Stackhouse, a time machine move.
Stackhouse.
And unless you're a die-hard NBA fan, Stackhouse's name might not ring a bell. But now that you've seen his free throw ritual, we bet our kidneys that you cannot forget about him until the very end of your life. You might be asking, where does his knee-bending style come from? Well, stay tuned until the end and you won't believe where it came from. And speaking of the ending, he is just the beginning for these most unique free throw routines.
Chuck, we need to speak. Houston, we got a problem.
Every kid in the house, that was only...
In this video, we're not just going to show you how they perform it, but also we're going to reveal the stories behind their unique or sometimes weird charity line rituals. So let's pass the ball to...
Like this. Oh, he got it. Oh!
That's why he's a two-time MVP.
Nash hands it off to Stoudemire.
Wait, it's Nash! Nash is one of the greatest free throw shooters ever. This legend is second to Steve Curry, sinking over 90% of his free throws. But did you know he had a quirky little routine? Steve Nash would lick his fingers, then comb his hair after pretending to shoot the ball. Weird. Yeah, but if it works, why not? So what's the deal with this finger-licking good routine? Well, like most players, Nash was taught to have a ritual when he was young. And by 10th grade, he had found his groove. But why the finger licking? Well, according to an NBA 2K insider, Nash wanted a nice firm grip on the ball. And yes, wetting his fingertips was the perfect way to do it. And according to Nash, he's been doing it for over 20 years. Now, where did this finger licking, hair combing ritual take our man Nash? Well, as we all know, he's a two-time NBA Most Valuable Player, bagging the title in 2005 and 2006. Not to mention, he's been an NBA All-Star 8 times. And he's also been a part of the exclusive 50-40-90 Club 4 different times. Now, next time you're practicing your free throws, maybe give finger licking a try. Who knows, it might just be the secret sauce you need to shoot like a pro. From Nash, let's take a minute to talk about a guy whose name is practically a synonym for shooting in the NBA. It's gotta be Steph, right? Nope, we're talking about Gilbert Arenas. This guy has had one of the most unusual free throw rituals you've ever seen. He would swing the ball around his waist not once, not twice, but 3 times, like he was hula hooping. Then he'd dribble and shoot. But why this oddball routine? Well, in classic Arenas style, he said he just wanted to move that his kiddos could copy. Yeah, we know, it's a bit of a head scratcher because kids can dribble, right? But this is Hibachi Arenas we're talking about, the guy who signed a monster contract with the Wizards even on a busted knee. So logic isn't always his strong suit. Let's get back to Stackhouse. Where did his knee-bending free throw routine come from? According to Rolling Stone, Stackhouse's mom is the mastermind behind this unique free throw ritual. Every time he missed, his mom would shout, "You didn't bend your knees!" So Stackhouse decided to really bend those knees, maybe even a little too much. We said that you wouldn't believe this, didn't we? Well, what's the takeaway here? Look, moms are great, but sometimes they can get a little bit overzealous. And while their advice is often spot on, in this case, maybe a little less knee bending would have been just fine. And speaking of bending, the next guy on this list has a rule-bending free throw. Giannis Antetokounmpo's free throw style isn't exactly by the book, and his routine at the line is actually a bit, well, rule-bendy. Why? Because the guy takes ages to shoot his free throws like he's waiting for a bus that's running on Greek time. Giannis has his own take on it.
Great games where he didn't even use his challenge and decided he needed to change the way he did it. His analytical people telling him about, hey, it's okay to use it early in the game. Most coaches want to save it, but often you never use it. And a 10-second violation.
Giannis said, "At the end of the day, that's my routine." And he tries to keep it under 10 seconds as per the rules. But if the refs call him out on it, he's cool and no complaints from the Greek Freak.
You never use it. And a 10-second violation.
Giannis 4 for 8 today. And I think we may have a lane violation.
You know Giannis is going to get the 10-second treatment. They're giving him the quick count now. They started as soon as he got the ball.
Now this two-time MVP doesn't really have a solid reason for his slow-motion free throw style, unless he's got a touch of OCD. It seems a bit strange because it could cost him team some precious points. But hey, that's Giannis for you. So next time you're watching a game, keep an eye on the clock when Giannis steps up to the line, because it might just be the longest 10 seconds of your life. And while you're waiting for a Giannis free throw, you should watch this fun. We miss you, Black Mamba. Dwight Howard isn't exactly the best at free throws, and his unusual routine might have something to do with it. Well, just take a look at it. Howard steps to the line, and then, hold on, he steps back. Yeah, he's a good 2 to 3 feet away from the line. You gotta wonder, how's he planning to sink those shots all the way from back there? We really don't know. But Howard isn't the only one with this long-range free throw habit, because on the other side of the court, Nick Van Exel, the Quick, had the same trick up his sleeve. But Van Exel's reason for his backstep actually kinda made sense. Back in his Denver days, he found that his free throws kept hitting the back of the rim, so he decided to step back a bit, and it worked like a charm. It became his go-to shot, and he joked that it showed his mid-range game wasn't as good as Sam Cassell's, so he had to make up for it by stepping back a bit. Now, most of Kid's routine is pretty standard, but there was this one part that stood out just before shooting the ball. Kid would blow a kiss. Just a little smooch in the air. But why the flying kiss? Well, it was supposed to be a sweet tribute to his family, especially his wife, Shamana. But here's where things get a bit awkward. You see, Kid and Shamana had their share of rocky moments, including a domestic dispute back in 2001. And eventually, they divorced in 2007. And Kid decided to remove the kisses routine from his career. And speaking of removing, Jeff Hornacek's free throw ritual is something like he's trying to remove the itchiness on his face. Hornacek had this sweet habit of rubbing the right side of his face with his hand every time he was at the line. Why is that? Well, it was his special way of saying hello to his kiddos watching the game on TV. And speaking of his kids, they must have spent quite a bit of time watching the game because his daughter, Abby, can really hold her own on the court. And Abby is now a host at Fox News, but she hasn't forgotten her b-ball roots. We've got a video right here of Abby showing off some slick basketball moves with her dad. Kevin Durant's approach to the free throw line is quite the spectacle, and it's got its own rhythm and flair. So KD steps to the line, a quick mumble under his breath, a deep breath in, then out. He spins the ball in his hands, and, wait for it, gives his shoulders a little shimmy. It's not a full-on dance move, but it's enough to catch your eye. Here's the funny part. According to a report by the Oklahoman, KD didn't even realize he was doing the shimmy. It just came naturally, a spontaneous part of his routine. When asked about it, KD just shrugged and said, "I don't even think about it. I just do it. Sometimes I don't even remember that I do it. But hey, as long as he keeps sinking those shots, he can shimmy all he wants."
5 from long range. Durant's got 11. Craig goes down.
1 for 9 for 3. Durant down the other end. Layup is good.
Durant on the attack. Banks it in. Nothing is too tough.
Alonzo Mourning's free throw routine kinda looks like he's wiping his face with his wrist sweatband. Zoe puckers up, plants a kiss on his wrist, then smoothly glides it up to his forehead. But here's the twist. It's actually a heartwarming tribute to his family. And to be fair, Zoe wasn't the most reliable shooter from the charity stripe. But hey, with such a heartwarming gesture behind this routine, his family must have been beaming with pride every single time. And talking about not being so good at the free throw line, DeAndre Jordan only managed to sink 47.5% of his shots from the charity stripe. Not the best record, right? But get this. There was a time when he became a free throw sharpshooter, hitting an impressive 80% at one point in a season and finishing with a decent 70.5%. So how did he do it? Did he tweak his form? Change his release? Nope. He just mixed a bit of silliness with a touch of quirkiness that'll make you scratch your head. Before stepping up to the line, Jordan launches the ball into the air, getting his form ready. Once he's at the line, he sets his feet, turns to a teammate, and asks, "Who do you got?" He then takes 2 dribbles and launches the shot with a smooth motion. And for the second shot, he does it all over again, just asking a different teammate the same question. Hey, hold on. Just take a look at these 2 most hilarious free throws ever.
What happened right there?
Someone opened the door. Whoa. Oh, whoa.
It was
wide
whoa.
right.
That's pretty interesting.